I don't feel that's fair, and I'm sure most people in the UK wouldn't feel it's fair that someone leaves a pension pot behind for their children and they pay up to 70% tax on that income. So the high level figures are that someone dies as of 2027 onwards, forgetting the spousal benefits. But if it goes to your child, for example, they'll pay 40% inheritance tax. But you have to also factor in the fact that they'll pay income tax as well. And it depends on how that person takes that money. But if you've got someone who decides to cash the entire amount in one go, which I'm sure is going to happen, there's going to be lots of people that children want to buy a property or whatever, and they say, oh, I've got access to a lump sum here, let's cash that in. The actual tax rate is going to be much, much higher than 40% when they add on income tax to that as well. And we're talking, I haven't got the exact maths on it, but probably over 70%. I don't feel that's fair, and I'm sure most people in the UK wouldn't feel it's fair that someone leaves a pension pot behind for their children and they pay up to 70% tax on that income.
It's driving some tricky conversations and some kind of changes in long-term financial planning you've been working on with clients, because a lot of people now think, and again, there's all sorts of hearsay around the tax-free lump sum and how that's going to be attacked in the next budget we've got coming up. But I've been approached a lot this year with clients and families saying, well, look, if my pensions are now going to be included in our estate, should we not? Although we haven't got a use for it, it's not included in any of our financial planning conversations. Are we now not better off taking out the tax-free lump sum? And again, that is it's very different. If you're a wealthy individual who doesn't need it, there's no real need for that money, especially if you're somebody, if you're an expat living overseas and everything you're doing is in dollars. Let's say you're living in the US, you kind of being forced to think, right, well, the best thing for me to do is to take 25% out of a pension because some legislation might change and because it might be part of my estate. Sounds great, but there's also an opportunity cost of it not remaining inside a pension where it grows free of tax.
So on one hand, you're trying to keep as much money within people's pensions until retirement, until to pass on in some way, shape or form. And then on the other hand, there's a bit of a incentive for people to go, well, if that's going to fall inside my estate, I'm going to remove that.
Yeah.
Put money into their pensions because it wasn't part of their estate. And they're already at their nil rate band, their IHT allowance. And then 2 weeks later, the Chancellor then turns around and says, as of 2027, pensions are going to be part of your estate. And then, so within 2 weeks, you're then going, well, that's just gone completely against all the advice I've been given. Yeah. We shouldn't do this. Surely it makes our job more difficult if a law so big in our industry can flip like that.